Hello, I'm Christy with coastalknitsandpearls.com. I am a Florida knitter and I share my knitting adventures through the Sunshine State. I haven't recorded a video in what feels like forever, kind of has been, but I think I am going to start doing some videos again. So I'm going to start out with why I choose to exclusively knit socks on 9-inch circulars. So when it comes to sock knitting, there are many different options. Magic Loop is a really popular one. Using DPNs is another popular one. 2 9-inch circulars or 2 needle knitting is another popular way to do it. But I prefer, it's my preferred method, which is using 9-inch circulars. So these are fixed circulars and they measure 9 inches in total. And they're tiny and people think, oh my goodness, how do you do it when it's so tiny? Here's a sock that I cast on yesterday. These are on metal needles while this is a bamboo needle, but I wanted to show you bare so you could see it. So the reason that I exclusively knit on 9-inch circulars is, first of all, it's how I learned to knit socks. When I initially went down the rabbit hole of my sock knitting journey, I learned how to do it on 9-inch circulars. I learned by following a tutorial by the Crazy Sock Lady, which most of you probably know. I ended up knitting a little bit differently than she does, but the foundation was set by following along with her tutorial. So I do everything on my 9-inch circulars. I do not switch to DPNs for the heel flap. I do not switch to DPNs for the gusset pickup or the heel turn or any of those kinds of things. The only thing that I end up doing not on 9-inch circulars, which I know there's a way you can do it, but I don't do it that way, is I do Kitchener the toes on 2 DPNs. So that is the only part of my sock that I do not use 9-inch circulars for. So the first reason that I do it on 9-inch circulars is that's how I learned. But second, I found when I was trying to learn how to knit in the round with DPNs, or when I was trying to do pieces of my sock with DPNs, like the heel flap or the turn and then picking up the gussets, I was getting laddering, holes, things like that you definitely don't want in your sock or in anything that you're knitting in the round. So that is another reason that I prefer 9-inch circulars. Just the setup of them is conducive to knitting a perfectly round, sock. So I don't have to struggle with getting that, triangular part of DPNs or anything like that when it comes to knitting socks or other things that I'm knitting in the round. And I do knit other things in the round on 9-inch circulars, like soap socks or sacks or whatever you call them. I am going to embark on knitting my first 2 sleeves for my first sweater. They won't be on 9-inch circulars, but it's probably going to be, on circular needles. Just I prefer knitting in the round on an already circular needle because it helps me to keep the shape. I've recently been knitting pouch covers, so like zipper pouch covers. So I've been upcycling some zipper pouches, and that is knit also in the round, and then I Kitchener the bottom, and then I glue it onto the bag, and all of it just helps to keep the shape. So I found when I was personally using DPNs or trying to do Magic Loop or anything like that, it didn't look like a sock. It had all these issues, and I just prefer 9-inch circulars. The third reason is they are not fiddly to me. So it takes some getting used to because they are small, but they're not fiddly. So I'm not fiddling with 2-3 different needles with DPNs. I'm not, there's not these big loops and pulling out back needles to knit the front and then shoving it back in. There's none of that. It's completely on fiddly. Again, it does take some getting used to. They're tiny, but once you get used to it, they fly. So I think those are the 3 primary reasons that I exclusively knit my socks on 9-inch circulars. If you knit your socks a different way, or if you're learning to knit socks, I highly recommend giving 9-inch circulars a try. You will love it once you get used to it. It does take some getting used to, but once you get used to it, you will fly with it. This will go so fast. I cast this on last night along with 3 other socks and got through I think like 20 rounds on each total across all the socks. So it really flies, and in a small amount of time. I was just like doing it after dinner or whatever. So I'm interested though in knowing what you all prefer for your sock knitting, or if you're about to embark on your first sock knitting journey, what needles are you going to use? What's your approach? But yeah, it was good to talk with you guys. I haven't talked with you guys in a while. And like I said, I hope to be back kind of recording videos again, sharing my, weekly knitting updates, reading updates, and doing some tutorials with you guys. Until then, take care.